Hello everyone, today is indeed December 6th, 2025, a lovely Saturday, and as is my usual practice, we'll commence with me diligently answering your insightful questions. I will be thoroughly addressing the specific questions you so thoughtfully posed in the previous video. I am truly seeing a great deal of heartfelt gratitude expressed here, and I am also profoundly grateful to each and every one of you for these wonderful and encouraging comments. The comment with this question: thank you for your video and for sharing your market analysis. Tell me, are you going to buy any altcoins? When Bitcoin reaches a period of volatility, it will start moving sideways and accumulation will begin. If you are going to buy, what parameters will you use to choose an altcoin? In this cycle, I bet on Aptos and Link. Both showed several multiples from the purchase price. But that's not at all what I was hoping for. You once wrote a good post about Aptos. Has your attitude towards this project changed in the long term? So regarding Aptos, yes indeed, Aptos disappointed me in this cycle. And really, I mean truly, it is quite something. We didn't observe any significant movement at all on it. We've been consistently falling since the conclusion of the year 2024, just continuously falling and falling. Here, I honestly and truly thought that from this particular range, we would decisively break out upwards. But despite my expectations, I also got deeply into it. But literally in September of that year, I completely sold off everything I owned because I simply couldn't bear it anymore, not even for another moment. And I had a plan, and I stuck to it. I sold everything. And to this day, I'm still out of the market. I'll say it again. If many people ask me, have you changed your mind about this particular situation? Or are you still very much a bear? Yes, indeed, I'm still a bear, and I will steadfastly remain one. For some time. Until such time as my limit orders are fully reached, or indeed until all of my limit orders are completely reached. So, regarding Aptos, it was quite disappointing, and now it's just heading straight down to the very bottom. There were some initial attempts at a slight rebound, but it's clearly just a dead cat bounce, and we continue to keep falling further, and we will inevitably drop below that significant wick. In actual fact, even amongst the very top tier projects, which I personally considered Aptos to be a prime example of, there are certain critical psychological levels that once decisively broken, you might find it exceedingly difficult to fully recover from. And Aptos is already getting close to that point. We can, for example, take a look at it. For example, the same thing with Atom, which in turn was also widely considered a top-tier project. Literally, in the year 2022, you can clearly see that in the entire year of 2022, and this significant accumulation has been ongoing since early 2022, everyone was actively buying into this asset here, and their initial entry points, well, let's say roughly around this specific area. Let's put it this way for clarity. So $7, $8, $10, let's even completely remove the $12 mark. For almost everyone, the average entry point is around 8, let's say 8 or 9. And for it to even reach that level from today's prices, that's a 300% increase. And those very investors who bought here, they'll be selling right at these points. And by doing so, they'll be putting pressure on the order book. As we've seen here, any pump just got sold off immediately. And then there was this kind of further decline. I'm not even talking about the fact that they simply, quite frankly, don't have enough money to support their team and to do any steps to exit, at least, unless they find something truly revolutionary that could impact the market. The same situation is with Auto. The team itself is strong. The technology is excellent. But the thing is, the chart looks terrible and no one wants to buy it back, and we're going to break through this point. And most likely we'll go down, and after that, after some accumulation, maybe we'll see some growth. Maybe I'm not sure about that, but it would make sense. We can compare. Let's go back for a moment. Let's go back to the origins of ADA USDT. Let's do it this way. Of course, this isn't the current market situation, but we can clearly see this kind of significant spike. Everyone suddenly found out about this incredibly crazy project that successfully raised a truly astonishing amount of money. After that, we clearly see that for a very, very extended period of time, there was a significant process of either accumulation or distribution happening within the market, specifically a continuous and sustained accumulation of assets. And this went on for about 3 years, just inside that period, and only after that, there was this kind of pump. So what can be said about this? Is there a future? Honestly, I truly don't really know. I mean, I personally haven't actually used ADA myself at all. They have some kind of technology, they have fans, and they have everything else. But if you're ready to hold through something like this, that will be the key to your success. So if you're ready to freeze your assets for 3 years, and that's about how long it is, 3 years. Well, we've got another year of the bear market ahead, and after that there will be the start of a kind of bull market for Bitcoin. And after that, at the end of the cycle, or maybe in one of the cycles, maybe something like this will happen. I'm not saying that in September 2026 there will be some kind of altcoin pump. But if you're willing to wait 3 years, then by all means, go ahead, you can accumulate, and that will lead to success. It's the same situation with most projects out there. Regarding Link, the question about Link, it's a great project, but it also disappointed me. Here, I had already recorded actually, and in the video I remembered that the earphone doesn't work, the microphone doesn't work. So this is the situation we have. We have good volumes, really good ones. Well, we had this long period of consolidation, and we broke out of it and moved into this channel, which is great. But I don't see us going straight up from this channel. Most likely we have horizontal levels here and a psychological mark at $5. So most likely we'll break down from the channel, and after that, maybe we'll see some upward movement. Because the project is fundamental, it has found its niche, and it's a tier 1 project in the crypto market. And I have no doubts about these guys, just like I don't doubt them in this regard. The whole industry doesn't doubt Aptos, but there are some questions, small ones. So, hello there, I'm curious, will you be opening any new long positions in the market this December? If your answer is yes, then what specific assets are you planning to acquire? Look, let's see. All right. I have already set my limit orders for the current period. It is now December, and all of these specific limit orders are carefully set with my predetermined prices and my chosen coins. I've carefully posted all the important details and valuable content within my exclusive group. You are warmly invited to join our growing community by either seamlessly transferring your existing Bybit account, a straightforward process, or by easily registering a brand new Bybit account. It's important to use my special referral when you do so. Here's the direct and convenient link, which you'll find readily available in the description below this video. Next, what specific and important criteria will I ultimately use to make this purchase? Fundamentally strong projects, really strong projects that have a large audience, in which I see potential. What do you think about the dominance index? Is it? No, I don't believe in dominance because, well, the chart is wrong and it's calculated incorrectly. So relying on it, I think that's not right. Okay, fine. Let's go over the main assets that we're truly interested in. So Bitcoin, all right, look, let's truly and genuinely do it in this particular and specific way. Let's proceed with it just like this. And, you know, consider this approach. Even if we remove this. Let's do it. Even like this. Look, let's carefully observe. This is precisely how the market typically develops. This understanding comes from extensive previous experience, illustrating how absolutely any financial instrument is generally traded in the broader market. If it's an established uptrend, it's an impulse, then a correction. It truly doesn't matter what specific kind of correction it is. Then another impulse, followed by a correction, and finally a concluding impulse. And here, by the way, you can actually see 5 waves. 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are Elliott waves, of course. They aren't really, personally, I don't use them in my trading strategy at all. But for understanding how this works, yes, they are useful. Here we can even effectively utilize the well-known Wyckoff pattern. Let's carefully turn it on and thoughtfully observe what it precisely tells us here. This, as you can clearly see, is the standard, widely recognized chart, and within its intricate details you can distinctly perceive, for example, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or in another, perhaps more comprehensive way. It profoundly shows the fundamental essence that right now we're already deeply immersed in the ABC correction phase. And furthermore, here we even possess certain clearly indicated levels, according to which we can further analyze the market's trajectory. Where a correction might occur. It's not guaranteed that it will happen this way. How is this calculated? It's very simple. These are Fibonacci levels. We overlay the grid and we see that here, for example, this level is 0.30 and here it's actually marked as 0.38, 2.05, 0.61. This is just to confirm and acknowledge that such things do indeed exist, but allow me to get back to my own detailed analysis. Impulse, correction, impulse. If this particular movement is indeed a true impulse, because here we have clearly taken out significant liquidity and so on, as we can observe. So right now we are here, and most people are saying that we're about to go and set a new all-time high. Well, good luck with that. This is what I see. At this particular juncture, we are currently observing a discernible corrective movement, subsequent to which we anticipate a continued progression in a downward trajectory. Whether we will experience a significant breakout right now, or if we will continue to observe some kind of corrective movement here in this particular market, and only then potentially go down, truly remains to be seen. But judging by the undeniable fact that right now, at this very moment, we are here. There are still many buyers and fervent believers who genuinely think that everything will ultimately be perfectly fine with the volatile crypto market. So this current situation is just more fuel, indeed, additional fuel for new and inevitable liquidations, because this is simply not that kind of stable market. It's just that, unfortunately, people can't adapt quickly. Because when people ask such questions, it's because for almost 3 years the market was green, and it's hard to adjust in just a few months to the idea that it's over. You need to exit and not touch anything. Or even to short, it's very difficult because after every correction you have to buy, but that's not the case anymore. So now we have a completely different story, entirely different. And all of this fascinating phenomenon can be thoroughly explained by the fundamental logistic curve, or more precisely, the logistic growth curve. It visually appears like this. Actually, I've extensively talked about it a significant amount, so it's the speed at which information spreads. There are certain fundamental logistic curves that comprehensively explain everything that is currently happening right now in our complex world. Here it profoundly consists of several distinct and interconnected things. Here we have influential insiders, those individuals who possess a deep understanding of precisely what is going to imminently happen. Some kind of significant movement, something truly momentous is undeniably about to occur and unfold. Then there are those close to these insiders who already realize that something has started, and here is where the crowd comes in. The crowd is always wrong. This is always where the most noise is, and usually after this everything drops there. You can absolutely do this with anything. If you're interested in Bitcoin, we can open it up we can simply open it up and truly take a much closer look at this particular interesting thing. Right here, this is exactly how it is right here. If you were here at this point, you could say you were an insider. For example, I entered the market when the price was 600, but I don't consider myself any kind of insider. It was just about here, right around here. That's about when I got in. By this point, it's already the people who are close to, when the people who understand, those who get it, those who understand that there is a trend. And here the government is already putting money on its balance sheet. But even there, let's put it this way. Even at that point, you realize that the government is already putting money on its balance sheet. Companies are buying public funds and so on. So much more has been bought here. Indeed, I'm not saying that this current cycle is about to definitively end and that we're going to fall very low into a deep recession. I'm saying that right now, at this precise moment, you're in a critical position where you absolutely need to fully understand exactly where we are at this particular moment in time, what the overall situation truly is. You absolutely shouldn't get unduly provoked or swayed by all these loud, often misleading shouts. You truly need to understand that we're currently at the very top of this market cycle, and you unequivocally need to strategically buy when it's truly at the absolute bottom for maximum benefit, or at least somewhere in the middle of this whole movement. So if we carefully look at the overall situation, we've actually dropped by approximately 36%, which is quite significant. Well, okay, fine, but if you don't believe that, if we experience a substantial drop, perhaps by as much as 60%, or even a significant decrease of 50%, that would still be considered within the realm of normal fluctuations. And based on this logical and well-reasoned premise, I have meticulously established certain predetermined levels for myself, precisely at which point I would confidently choose to enter the market. Because in reality, the cryptocurrency market and Bitcoin as a trending instrument will always be bought back. But to just set an order and wait, to put a bucket here and wait, well, that's much better than doing it here. Trying to catch some small moves, some little movements here, small movements, well, they won't lead you to anything good. That's why even if you look at this chart, if you analyze everything here, you can see there was this kind of movement, an impulse, a correction, then an impulse. So here it's honestly hard to even say what this correction will mean. I don't even want to. I don't even want to get into it just to take a good short position. Well, you could try, but honestly, with the kind of funding fees crypto exchanges charge, it's not very pleasant. If it hits 104,000, I'll definitely take it. But honestly, I mean, I think that at 104, maybe around 103,000, that's where it'll be. The belief that we're heading for new all-time highs. And then, like, it's the perfect entry point, the perfect exit point, just like that. But honestly, we could just drop down without even reaching those targets. That's a little bit about that. So, well, just anyway. In principle, we could take a couple of relevant questions directly from TradingView here, right now. But here it's 2. They say in 26 it'll be 150,000. But with that, I sincerely wish you all the very best of luck and an abundance of patience. So about the SMI 200 indicator. All right. Why are you called X? I've talked about this many times. And actually, it's precisely the same situation here. An initial impulse followed by a necessary correction, and then perhaps some kind of subsequent impulse once more. It's possible that the overall trend will simply continue to get progressively narrower over time. It's precisely the same story playing out here. A clear correction, followed by an impulse, and then a downward movement again. Exactly the same thing unfolding here. So correction, impulse down. Basically, it worked out absolutely perfectly, and in every way it was just right. I think there shouldn't be any questions. In fact, a million charts were published, a million charts showing how this was supposed to happen. A million haters. It's just that right here, in this particular situation, well, you see, I don't know, here. So look, it's even written here who is present and when. If something changes, the status will change here as well. So please subscribe to this valuable channel if you genuinely want to consistently get the very latest information on optimal entry and exit points and truly up-to-date market insights. The direct link is conveniently provided. Also, please join the exclusive group in the description and thoughtfully comment under this video. I will personally answer all the pertinent questions you might ask. I'll answer in the next video. Thank you all and bye.